Hi, friends. It's Joni with Three Feathers Spiritual Wisdom, here with a different kind of video. This is a little experimental, so I hope that you will bear with me. I am videotaping in Zoom because I'm going to show you an astrology chart as part of this video. And I am going to talk about Pluto and Pluto's return. Now, Pluto is currently transiting Capricorn. And on February 20th, which is tomorrow, I'm taping this video on February 19 of 2022. Tomorrow on February 20th, Pluto will be exact the degree point and minutes for its placement from 250 years ago. The degree point that it was at in the Sibly chart of the Declaration of Independence. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to break down parts of what I just said to explain. I think I mentioned this in the astrology highlight video last week, that Pluto is making its return this year in the birth chart of the United States. Now, when I make you a birth chart, my clients a birth chart, or a solar return chart, the pieces of information that I need to know are the date, the time, and the location of your birth. And that can be the same for an event. Knowing the date, the time, and the location gives you a chart and a glimpse or a snapshot of where the planets were at that very moment when it happened. So astrologers through time have looked at events through the astrological lens, getting the time, the date, the location, and creating a chart. That is the case with the Declaration of Independence. However, based on my research, there's some debate between historians and astrologers, and multiple astrologers are debating each other as to the exact time. Most people base looking at the Declaration of Independence, which some astrologers also debate whether looking at the Declaration of Independence is the birth of the country, of the United States, or is it the signing of the ratification of the Constitution. So that is also up for debate. But, and I'm not going to get into those debates right now. What we know is if you look at a particular chart that's of the Declaration of Independence, which I will show you, the degree point at which the signing of the Declaration of Independence would have happened would have been at 27 degrees of Capricorn. So, okay, so there's that part. When I mentioned before that people say it's the Sibly chart, let me explain Sibly, because I didn't know what that was, and I did a little research, and that's what this video is. It's kind of distilling the research I did for you. So, Ebenezer Sibly made a chart, first put a chart, and it's not like the circle zodiac chart that we're used to seeing, but it was some kind of chart in his book. Let me get the name of it, The Celestial Science of Astrology, which was published in 1780. And that was, by the way, before Pluto was even discovered. He put a chart in there about the astrology of the signing of the declaration for the 4th of July, 10 hours, 10 minutes, PM, 1776. In modern time, Eastern Standard Time, now he didn't put a location, and that's also the core of some of the debate. He didn't write Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is indeed the location of where the Declaration of Independence was signed. But modern astrologers are putting, they've interpreted this as July 4th, 1776, which is, July 4th, the holiday that we celebrate every year, Philadelphia, PA, but at 5:10 p.m. in the afternoon. So that is the chart that we'll use at that time. The other thing I want to mention about Sibly, which may or may not be relevant, is that he was a Freemason. And so Freemasons, again, there's mystery about them, and I'm not going to go into the detail because I don't know a lot myself. But Sibley called himself an astro philosopher. Okay, so his chart, and part of the debate of his chart is some of the angles that he talked about or wrote in his engraving. Astrologers debate whether he used Philadelphia as the location, because those angles where the planets would be are not in the cosmic geographic area where Philadelphia. They actually, what they discovered was that those angles would be above London, England. Now, in my mind, that makes me think, well, then the Declaration of Independence was a document that was actually meant for and addressing George III, the King of England, who would probably have been in London. So I wonder if there was some confusion there about that. So that's kind of an interesting factoid about this. But the real location is Philadelphia, and the modern charts will look at that. I'm going to bring up the chart. I'm going to hit the share button, and hopefully you'll see the chart, because I do want to talk about it a little bit here. So here is the chart. What I've got is, this is the, and I'm gonna put it down just a little bit. This is the time and date, July 4th, 1776, 5:10 p.m. in the afternoon, Philadelphia, PA. I made the chart for tomorrow's date because in the middle of the chart is the birth chart. On the outside, the little planets here in green, and most of them are actually down at the bottom. Most of the planets transiting are at the bottom, including Pluto here. I want to annotate. Make a little circle. So here is Pluto. Oops. And here is Pluto. Oh, darn. Sorry about that, people. I'm not very good at this. But anyway, you get the sense. Here's Pluto in the birth chart. Here's Pluto in, let's see if we can go backwards. Erase that. No, I'm not going to mess. I'm not going to mess with it. I'll stop sharing. Let me try sharing again, see if it comes back up. Okay. All right. So down here at the bottom left of the chart is Pluto. Pluto transiting Pluto, hitting Pluto in the birth chart. Okay. So what else is happening here? This is the first time that this will be hitting the Pluto, hitting itself, triggering and activating itself, and its high point of intensity. We're actually going to experience 4 times where it hits itself. Now, granted, Pluto doesn't move very fast. If it takes 248 years to go around this circle, it moves on average in a year 2 degree points. So we're actually have been feeling this energy building for a long time. And you know this if you have seen what's going on in the world today. But it will maybe move a few minutes. See, it's at 27 degrees, 33 minutes. And in the transit, it is at 27 degrees, 32 minutes. So when it moves off the point, it'll probably be only a few minutes. And then at some point, it's going to retrograde. It's not retrograde right now, but it will retrograde and travel a few minutes back and hit the point for a second time. And that's going to be on July 11 of 2022. Then it comes back, it goes forward, and it will hit it again on December 28th of 2022. And then it must travel another degree or a little bit and then turn retrograde and go back, because it will hit it a 4th and final time where it activates its own point in the chart in October of 2023. And once it gets past that, all right, the energy will begin to dissipate. Now it'll be very slow, and it will dissipate and be in effect until January of 2024. And at that point, maybe it moves off the degree point and go into 28 or 29 degrees. So what does this mean? What I want to do is I want to break this down. So you're looking at Pluto. Pluto is in Capricorn, and Pluto is also in the 2nd house. So let me explain that. Capricorn is the sign, it's an earth sign, but it's the sign that governs structures and the structure of our society. So it governs governments and corporations and our career. It wants us to succeed. It drives us forward with ambition and power. So all of those things are going to be impacted. And we're already seeing that. We're already seeing it. Now, Pluto none of this acts alone. So we can't just blame Pluto. There's other stuff in this chart that is happening. For one, over here on the right side in Taurus, you see where I'm moving the cursor. Uranus moved into Taurus a year or 2 ago, and it will be there for a good 7 years. Now, just to blow your mind, Taurus is the original ruler of the 2nd house. Now, let's talk a moment about the 2nd house. So Capricorn and Pluto in the 2nd house. The 2nd house is the area of our life of our financial income, what we earn, what we value. It's the money flowing into our lives. It's our resources, but it's what we value in possessions. Sometimes it's our stuff, but it can also be what we value intrinsically. You know, our values, what we value, our self-value, our self-worth. So Taurus over here, that sign ruled by Venus, usually. Well, it is ruled by Venus. Uranus is here in Taurus, which is impacting and changing that area. So Taurus rules the second house. It's about money. It's about finances. And Uranus, the change maker, the innovator, wants to make change in Taurus, in the Taurus kinds of things that we have in our lives. So, and there's other things going on in the chart as well. You know, with Neptune. Neptune here is at the bottom of the chart, but it's in opposition to itself. If you travel all the way to the top, it is in direct opposition to itself in the birth chart of the Declaration of Independence. So Neptune rules, it rules unconditional love. It rules mystery and the unknown. And often it rules illusions, fantasy, dreams. It's the otherworldly stuff. It's very creative. It's where our imagination and our creativity come. It's a spiritually led energy and planet. So what may be going on between this opposition to itself is coming to grips with the illusions and the mysteries in our world. And Pluto, of course, is named after the god of the underworld. And Pluto is bringing everything that is hidden to the light. And I want to point out a couple of things. It has brought to light sexual harassment, and you know, just a couple of years ago, all the women that came forward, that the Me Too movement, and all the men that were harassers were revealed. And then the other thing that has really been fully seen is racism in this country. It's videotaped practically every day. So these are things that are coming to light, and that's what Pluto's job is. It is to help us see our shadow. And that is part of the research that I found, is some of the astrologers believe that Pluto, as well as some of the other aspects that it's working with, like Uranus and Taurus and Neptune opposition, and we haven't even talked about Mars and Jupiter. All some other aspects may, you know, tear down our structures or actually help us see what needs to be changed and identify those foundational problems and really go after solutions. I mean, that would be even the best outcome of Uranus being in Taurus, because Uranus is the innovator. We need innovation of thinking to solve some of our problems. This could be possible if we take advantage of the energy. We have to face our shadow. The United States of America. So we're talking about, when I say we, I talk about the people of the United States, because what we're looking at is the chart of the United States of America here. Let's see, what else? We need to embrace change. We're going to face our shadow, and we need to embrace change. And that's what Pluto is going to help us do. The other thing that I want to mention is some of the things that actually are an advantage is that the sun in the Declaration of Independence chart, or the Birth of the Nations chart, is in Cancer, which is a very nurturing place to be. Cancer is the opposite sign to Capricorn. So if we're talking about dualities here, which astrology works in dualities and the earth works in dualities, we need to move towards being the Cancerian country that the sun, where the sun's placement is, tells us our identity should be. So what is the Cancer? Cancer is the mother. It's a female-oriented, female empowerment. It is the nurturer. It is compassion. So there is the sun right now transiting in February, of course, is just moved into Pisces. But as we go along, perhaps the energy of Cancer, we may be pushed. I hope we are. I really do, because I don't want to see, I'm an optimistic person. So I don't want to see doom and gloom. I want us to see what reality is, but also see what we can take advantage of to go towards our best outcome. That's what I hope that we can do. It will be very interesting to see over the next couple of years what happens and where we go with this. But we are definitely in a death and rebirth cycle. And I can see it personally even in my own life, what things need to be released in order to manifest the next thing. So let me look at my notes. I know this is a very different thing. I did a lot of research. Oh, I do want to mention that that I will put a couple of links in the description that you can go and look at. This is a couple of things I looked at in order to do this research. I'm going to stop sharing and just want to say thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful. And I know it's given me a little bit more information. I'm going to be very curious to see each time how this transits everything. So at some point, I may go in and find the chart of how it looks, how the planets look in July on the 11th, when Pluto hits its point again, and then see what it looks like in December on the 28th, when Pluto hits it again in 2022. So anyway, that's what I have for you. I hope that we can change the world for a better place that is more loving and more compassionate. I think we have to start with ourselves and hope that that energy from our heart goes out to everyone else. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Many, many blessings. Feel free to comment, ask a question, because I'm going to continue to look at this. And if I find out more, I will certainly share it. So take care, many blessings, and have a wonderful